attracted significant responses. There were 72 applications in total. You don't have an issue with that?
No, I don't have an issue with the
Okay. Perhaps just to satisfy you, I won't be flighting this one because it's got a whole lot of personal details of applicants. CJC 370.15, these are at 403, the minutes of the panel meeting or the panel interview exercise. And we'll just run quickly through it. CJC 370, I said, 370.16.
Yep.
At page 404. Those are the minutes. And I look at those minutes at 405. To the bottom, it notes 72 applications were received. Then it immediately starts with a batch that says the following applications were disqualified, rejected for the reasons stated below. Others are incorrect application formats for a myriad of reasons. At 406, there's another cohort now, second table at 406. The following applications were not long listed by the panel due to no relevant limited experience in the field of the post. And then there's a list of them. At 407, midway the page, it says the following candidates were long listed based on qualifications, managerial, and relevant experience in the field of the post. So the number has sort of whittled down now. At 408, at the top, it notes, after deliberations, 7 candidates were shortlisted by the panel, and then it lists them. I think 7 there is a typo, because we know from facts that 5 were shortlisted. Do you accept that?
Accepted.
So we can accept that at least at first blush, it would appear to have been a rigorous process. It starts by disqualifying immediately those who don't comply. It excludes those, some are long listed and some are not long listed. Then it whittles down from the long listed to create the eventual short list of 5. You see, that's yes, what the document suggests.
Short list.
Would you have a challenge with that process insofar as legality is concerned or validity? Would you have an issue? Are you searching for something?
Yes, Commissioner.
I might just help. Please say what it is.
I have it now.
Okay.
Can proceed. It's fine.
Okay. I posed a question.
With the shortlisting of the candidates, it's fine.
Oh, so then we've got the 5
time, yes.
shortlisted. Bearing that in mind, let's go to your page, let's go to your affidavit, the warrant of arrest affidavit. Page 2378, we had just looked, the one to which the charge sheet is attached. 2378. At paragraph 8.8.1 at 2378, you mentioned that the panel, Kumalo Madondo, Lushabali Laka Laka, and Gabela shortlisted 5 candidates, 2 who were from TSS and 3 from outside SAPS. That's what we've just confirmed from the minutes, correct? 2378.
I have it, it's fine.
Have you located 2378?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I just read from paragraph 8.8.1, which states Kumalo Madondo, Lushabale, Lakalaka, and Gabela shortlisted 5 candidates. That's a panel shortlisting 5 candidates, 2 who were from within TSS and 3 from outside the SAPs. And the minute confirms as such, okay? The minute that we've just looked at
Yes.
confirms as such. At 8.8.2, you say, acting in concert, they certified and made representations about some of candidates and misrepresented that all candidates meet the requirements of the advertisement of the post. My simple question is, what in the docket points to this misrepresentation? If you could just tell us, look to that document, you will see the misrepresentation that all 5 candidates met the requirements of the post. Because the misrepresentation would suggest that when objectively viewed, they did not. Not all 5 met the requirements. I'm not seeking to have you justify what you set out in 8.8.2. I'm interested in what points, in the docket, what points 1 to that misrepresentation. Where does that misrepresentation lie in the docket?
I'll come to it now.
Yes. If you can recall off the top of your head the nature of document, it's okay. If you say it's a statement, it's a prescript, it's just off the top, not specific. Simply because it's late in the day.
It is.
And it's a voluminous docket, so it takes time to work through it.
I'll do my best.
It's okay, Colonel. If you can't immediately locate it, I'll leave the point. Let's move to the next.
Okay.
Okay. At 8.8.3, you say one of the shortlisted candidates' written tests were not properly evaluated and considered to establish content and quality, nor were they properly marked. Now, to the point that Commissioner Kumalo previously made, that the advertisement is published with requirements, and I think if I recall, this lady qualified because amongst others, she had a degree or qualification in mechatronics. I don't know the relevance of that to the job requirements. I don't even know what that involves. Do you by any chance know what the study of mechatronics involves? You don't?
Not really. I think it's got to do with something with mechanical and a little bit of electronics.
Okay.
Specifically in the car industry, something like that.
Okay. Because then if you don't, it interests me that you can make a call on how the written tests were evaluated and you determine they were not properly marked. My view would be to reach that conclusion, you have to have an appreciation of the content of the test and the marking allocated for the response to the questions posed in this highly technical field, I would assume. And yet you seem to come across as suggesting on this score you are more like me. We don't know what mechatronics is. How do you reach that conclusion about whether the tests were properly evaluated and considered to establish content and quality, and that they were not properly marked? What led you to that conclusion in the docket? Again, with reference to the docket.
It's the assessment tests.
Yes.
I think it is included in the docket.
Okay, now.
You've got it too as well. The tests written by the shortlisted applicants.
Yes.
That's where it's drawn from.
So what about those tests exactly? No, we don't have to go to them, but what are you taking issue with those tests?
The issue is that they were not properly marked.
How would you know?
Right.
How would you know?
Because we had it, we looked at it.
Okay, perhaps a different question perhaps from me. Are you saying they were not properly marked in a sense that maybe one question was not marked? Is it an arithmetic exercise? They're adding up, they ended up with 15 when it ought to have been 12. Is that the issue? Or they were not properly marked in a sense that considering the response given, the mark allocated was not proper?
The marks allocated, and when you look at the written test, when you look at Mokwele's one in comparison with Bapela and
Van
Vuren, who are in the post, who have been there for a very long time, writing those written assessments and what they've written there. And when you look at Mokwele, who does not have any police background or anything of that sort, but the question is given to her where she draws a police document with how you would address it as normal, structure it out. She's a civilian, does not know about how the police letterhead goes. And that was the one thing that we looked at. But the marks allocated there, and the final marks that were allocated in the end of the day, and in comparison with the candidates, the knowledge, the experience, and that from the specific environment, we start with Bapela. The final mark of Bapela was 40%. Bapela has been there for a considerable amount of time, acted in the post, and up until recently, this post that Mokwele is, he was acting in the post. So immediately after Mokwele was moved laterally, Bapela was appointed to act in that post until further notice. Here's a person that has failed the interview, 40%. Then you have Van Vuren, who's been in that environment for many years, traveled overseas, given lectures. He knows the whole setup, a technical support unit, inside out. He got 49%. So just by looking at the allocation of the marks, it brought about questions. This thing has been manipulated.
Okay.
Advocate Silo, maybe you'll come back to it
Yes.
later and I will leave it because I don't want to break the flow of your questions.
Yes, Commissioner.
The earlier question where you asked the Colonel, does he know what megatronics is? Does he know the core functions of the job? And I understood his answer to be no. Does it not help to just look at the job description and the requirements?
Yes, Commissioner, please go ahead.
Can we go to file 2 on page 178, please?
File 2.
File 2 on page 178. Are you there? Are you there, Colonel?
I'm here.
So the post is the one that is highlighted, is 3.2, section head technical support services. That's the post, right?
That's correct, sir.
And then look at the minimum requirements for appointment. Yes. So you must at least have a 3-year degree or diploma.
Yes.
Now we know that Ms. Mokwele had a B.Tech in engineering, so she meets that requirement. But in addition, she had a megatronics postgrad diploma. So she exceeds that requirement. And in addition, she had various other certificates which are attached to the docket, right? And then you see there's law there. That's why I was making a point that I could try my luck if I wanted to also. Page 179. And the reference to management experience in bullet 1, you will see that it says must have a minimum period of 3 years appropriate managerial experience. But as you said in your affidavit, how you define that is not what outsiders say. You have to go to your national instructions that talk about what is appropriate experience and what is, you dealt with that in your affidavit. I think it was 11 of 2015 or 11 of 2017. Do you remember in your affidavit you dealt with it? Yes. But there's a national instruction that actually defines what that requirement is. Remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because if you don't, I actually took a photo of it because I did not want to forget. It's 11 of 2017.
Yes.
Remember, it was
National
in your
instruction.
affidavit in there. So then we go to the core functions of this position. You'll see there's a heading there that says core functions. And it's all about workshops, it's all about electronics, it's all about mechanical stuff. So that's where the megatronics thing comes from, that, what we are looking for here is not a career policeman. What we are looking for is a person who knows those things and understands those things. The management of effective functioning of electrical workshop services, management of radio communication workshop services, management of effective functioning of mechanical workshop services, manage, utilize human financial information resources in the immediate. Those are the core functions.
Yes, sir.
Not you are a career policeman, you know what the letterhead of SAPS says, you know what this says, you have been there for 50 years and outsider cannot know this better than you. The core functions are megatronics, according to this advert.
Can I respond, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, electrical, mechanical, but we're going into, it's not electrical, mechanical in any other different environment. This is mechanical and electrical in technical support unit, which is a covert unit, which deals with installations of devices, creating specialist things for listening devices, cameras, and whatever in terms of operations. It's not where you've got to have mechanical or electrical knowledge to go and fix electrical component on a car or electronic. This has got to do with crime intelligence systems in terms of monitoring, building specific stuff, receiving applications from an undercover operation to say, this is what I need you to do for me. And there, under the structure, you have 3 separate subcomponents, which are
Why are you adding to the requirements? Because I've just read to you what SAP says are the requirements and the core functions.
Yes.
Why do you want to add to what is already contained here? Why should we not be bound by what the document says and say the requirements for that job are as set out in that document? Why can't we do that? Why does Idac have to add its own requirements to the requirements that SAPS has approved? Because Idac is NPA. SAPS releases an advert, determines what the job requirements are, determines what the job functions are. Why does Idac want to add to what is already on paper?
Can I respond, Commissioner? Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, all good and well. It is in here, the core functions of the post. This is what's required of you. And you apply for the post. And you are shortlisted and you go for the interview. Right? And you have other candidates also. Same thing, core functions of the post. They met all the requirements, everything, and they go and present themselves for the post. when you look at core functions, it's not that Idac is adding to it. It is how you perform in the interview and your understanding of the particular post, whether you'll be able to perform in the post. Yes, the requirements there, you've met all of them, you're now shortlisted for the post. Now let's talk about the post when you appear before an interview. You can have the qualifications, you can have, as you say, in the core functions of the post, all the things that they require. That's why they cannot read. She applied. It's an external advert, but only crime intelligence can answer that. Why did they advertise it externally? But nonetheless, according to, as you say, it's National Instructions 2017, these are the requirements in terms of the core functions and what are the qualifications that you have. So that is taken and accepted. So it's not Idac that is putting in everything here, but you also got to have this and also got to have that. You are now met the requirements, you appear before a panel. And now in that panel, you are being assessed. And there are people in that panel that are also being assessed with yourself. And when you look at the end result of two experts in the field failing that interview and a person that's coming from outside, it's not about police experience, a person from coming outside the technical crime intelligence field. When you look at crime intelligence, it's not just an ordinary policing thing, it's crime intelligence, it's a specialized post, it's a specialized field.
Because on your logic, this advert that says a lawyer with a law degree must apply. On this logic, that lawyer should not have been appointed because he would not have the experience that internal crime intelligence people have. So on your logic, the internal crime intelligence people would have been appointed and should have been appointed because there is no way a lawyer who applies according to the invitation could get higher scores than them and could be appointed.
It looks glaringly abnormal, sir, and I stand by that.
No, it may look abnormal. We are back to that question. What is IDAC's business and mandate to want to prescribe an advert to SAPS? Because that's what you're doing with what you've just said now. You say, well, this looks abnormal. It should not have included policing, public administration management law. It should not, criminology. It should not have included any of those. The question is, but what in your mandate authorizes you to make that kind of pronouncement and flag it as a problem?
The more you explain yourself, Colonel, the more all of this sounds like meddling in an HR matter. Please respond to Commissioner Baloyi.
And meddling in an HR matter of another institution over which you have no statutory authority to comment on. You have no authority to comment on SAPS's advert for this position. You don't. It's not your place to say, yes, they should not have included management and law and public administration. It's not your place to say they should not have advertised outside. So you should not be, as sitting there, you should never be saying, oh, it's an abnormality. Because when you do that, it means you know the normal. And the normal that you say should have been in this advert. And then it brings us directly to, but it's none of your business as Idac to comment on what they've put in their advert as a requirement, what they've put in as core functions, what they've advertised internally or externally. It's not in your mandate to do that. So please tell us, on what authority do you get to offer any opinion on this advert to say, yeah, it's abnormal, they should not have had law? What authority in the statute that governs you? Because remember, you're a creature of statute. You don't get to create powers as you don't have inherent powers. So you always have to default to your statute and say, well, in terms of our statute, we are entitled to evaluate an advert like this and say they should not have opened it to a lawyer and say they should not have advertised it outside. you must go to your act. Anything else that you say is overreaching if it's not founded in the act. You may comment.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioner. I take note that the comment that it should have not been advertised outside. I mean, the SAPs advertised it outside. So it's their prerogative to advertise it outside. I take note of the requirements and the core functions, and that it is SAP's requirements what they required for the post. So I'm acknowledging that, and yes. And I'm not influencing the advertisement of the post in terms of why it was advertised externally. It is my saying that, look, it's advertised externally, internally. What we looked at here, Commissioner Chair, is the various things that came up. These are the small things that came up there, together with other factors that are there. Because with all these things that came up there, just parts of it. Then we went into the CV, we interviewed witnesses, obtained witness statements, etc. That added to the evidence of this whole matter.
I guess the point, Colonel, is these things like this, the point that I would like to make is these kind of things of who they required or who they opened the advert to is irrelevant for your purposes of the investigation. So it should not be one of your building blocks, because it's irrelevant to you that they have opened it up to those many people with qualifications. It's irrelevant for your purposes that they have advertised externally. So you should not even be relying on it to say, well, this is one of the factors that caused us to go a particular direction, right? You just looking at it, you should have said, well, we have no say over who they invite to apply. And so that's a fact, it's an irrelevant fact.
Yes.
Let's look at something else that's relevant still to do with the complaint. Let's look at what is relevant for our purposes, not these irrelevancies, and you couldn't build on them to get to a point where you say, oh, and then we found something. Your starting point was bad from the get-go. You acted on the basis of an authority that you don't have. And everything crumbles from that, because you first have to answer the question, what's the mandate of Idac? Does it include them commenting, looking at adverts, this advert, and commenting? If the answer is no, then anything that's built on it should fall.
Yes.
Yes. To me, it seems logical that that's how it should proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Yes.
And Colonel, then just to conclude, at 8.8.3, it goes further. I don't understand on what basis you are able to determine that the responses provided by candidates on these technical issues merited a higher mark. So basically what you are saying, if I were to remark those tests, I would give this particular one more than Mukwele. And I, having said, for instance, nothing about megatronics and these technical issues, on what basis do you think you can judge how responses to such technical questions were answered? Unless you have certain expertise I'm not aware of.
Just repeat your line.
8.8.3, you say one of the short-listed candidates' written tests were not properly evaluated and considered to establish content and quality, nor were they properly marked. You must be speaking to the answer relative to the question. You are saying the mark is incorrect, you would have given a different mark. That presupposes, even including those technical issues, that you have the ability to assess the value of the response provided.
Yes.
And for somebody who says they know nothing like me about megatronics and those technical things, I don't understand on what basis do you think you can go into that arena and start tampering with marks given when you and I know nothing about how to assess answers to these technical questions? That's my problem.
When you look at the questions that are asked there, they're not metronic questions.
Oh, there were
Yes, they're
pedestrian
not-
questions.
Yes, it's straightforward questions with a scenario. It's not mechanic and technical questions that a layman would not understand on
Okay.
that. The qualification, electronics is understood, but it's the assessment, questions, responses to the questions, the answers that were given there.
So you are suggesting in the test, they were tested on layman issues that you and I can assess?
No,
So it had nothing to do with the core functions and the advert and the requirements and the technical knowledge. They were not tested on that. They were tested on issues that you and I can express an opinion on.
what I'm saying is there were no electronic questions regarding anything electronics.
No, I'm saying they were pedestrian enough, so they were pedestrian enough for me and you, who know nothing about that area, to express a view on that this candidate ought to have gotten a 5-year, not 3.
No, it's not a question of anybody that can come from anywhere and just answer those questions.
Okay? At 8.8.7 is an interesting conclusion, point you highlight, and you say one of the competing candidates has been in TSS environment for more than 2 decades and has been a colonel for more than 20 when he applied for his post. Based on his skill, knowledge, and experience, it is unimaginable that a civilian with 0 TSS knowledge, skill, and experience could outshine such a candidate. Earlier, you had called the other 2 competing candidates against Mrs. Mukwele experts. I don't know in what, but the 2 were in that environment when the previous 2 attempts to recruit failed. The 2 were in that environment, including the 2023 intake, where your most trusted member of the panel, General Khan, sat. Where were these 2 that you think ought to have earned more than 49% at the time?
During the 2 previous rounds?
Yes. Shouldn't they have succeeded then already?
During the 2 previous rounds, if I can recall, I think it was Van Vuren.
Yes.
He was not even shortlisted.
So, but in 2024, now it's an anomaly pointing to some level of corruption when he scores below 50. I point this out to try and understand the logic behind how you end up with this allegation when you seek to persuade a court to issue you with a warrant to go arrest people for suspected corruption.
It comes together with all the other information that follows through after the 8.8.
We'll get there because now we are into vetting. Just as a last, you've collected, as you do, I guess, in the course of investigation, quite a number of statements from various persons. Yes, I appreciate that the prosecution will, in the fullness of time, determine whether they are going to be witnesses. My question is, what's the basis on which you call for statements? Why do you approach people to give you statements?
Which statements are those on the vettings?
No, statements generally in your docket. There are a number of statements by different people, witness statements, for lack of a better term. No, just general. It's a general question. You are an investigator. You end up with witness statements. So you decide who to engage to provide you with a statement, correct?
Yes.
And I accept that whether or not they're eventually used in the subsequent trial is neither here nor there. That's a decision by the prosecutor. Yes. My question to you as an investigator, when you decide who to approach to provide a witness statement, what yardstick do you use? Why do you approach her and not me to give you a witness statement during your course of investigation?
Why would you approach a particular person?
Yes, yes.
Because you would approach a particular person or a witness to take a witness statement who has knowledge of a particular matter or something within the investigation that you're conducting to confirm or otherwise with regard. That's why we'll obtain a witness
Yes.
statement.
Would it be correct to say you do so perhaps as well to establish either a certain fact or a certain factual matrix relevant to what you are investigating.
Yes.
Would that be fair? Please refer to file 3, page 789. I want to understand this statement. At 789, is it file 3? Yes, file 3.
File 3.
As part of your many witness statements, I located this particular one, and in the context of the conversation we've just had about your criticism of Major General Khan not being a part of the panel, you confirm that this is the statement of Major General Khan, don't you? It says so at 791 in no uncertain terms, and he has signed.
3789, it's the
789. You started with 3.
apologies, it's that time of the day.
I know.
Sorry, Chair. 789,
That's a,
that is the affidavit of Major General Khan.
when you approached him, what fact were you seeking to establish for purposes of your investigation?
When he was approached, it was regarding a letter that was signed that he had his name on the top of it. I just want to just see here.
No, I just want to know the facts you were trying
Yes.
to have this witness speak to.
Sorry.
The facts of the matter that you wanted this particular witness to speak to when you approached them for a statement. What were you saying that they should give you a statement on?
It's the statement on a letter that had his name on it that was found in one of the files.
Okay.
We needed confirmation of this letter because it had his name on it. That is in the same bundle.
Yes, no, I see, it refers to it at 4. So it is that
Yes.
letter.
Yes,
So
793.
you wanted him to confirm something about that letter.
Yes.
What about the letter? It's there in the docket. So,
What about the letter?
yes, what about the letter
Okay.
did you want him to speak to? We know the letter.
Yeah.
The letter is signed by Brigadier Ngube. It reflects under inquiries the name of General Khan and Brigadier Ngube under inquiries. It's there. And I'm not aware of anybody denying its existence. I'm not aware of anybody making issue with the fact that it was signed by Brigadier Ngube. So I'm just trying to understand, when you then approach General Khan
Yes.
about this letter, what about the letter were you trying to establish?
The letter was regarding the vetting.
I know.
Yes. So when you apply for an SMS post, you have to, it's in the application, you have to undergo a vetting process.
No, Colonel, I apologize. There is a letter signed by Brigadier Ngube.
That's correct.
That letter speaks for itself. Yes,
Yes.
I agree, it's regarding vetting issues.
Yes.
You then approach General Khan, whose name is reflected under inquiries on that letter,
Yes.
regarding the content of that letter.
Yes.
What about that content of that letter did you want him to comment on?
The fact remains if he was aware of this letter,
Come again?
whether he was aware of this letter,
Yes.
that was the one. And during confirming on this letter, we also interviewed him with regards to the post.
Okay, so it starts with confirming whether he's aware of the letter, and he speaks to that.
Yes.
He takes issue at paragraph 5. He says he has no knowledge of the letter which purports that I was involved in preparing it. And this, of course, he says, because his name is reflected under inquiries, we don't have to go there. It is what it is. So we accept that would then put paid to the inquiry regarding the letter. We are done now. He's giving you a statement.
Yes.
All right? Now,
Sorry, Chair.
yes.
Yeah, it was with regards to the letter that has his name on the top, that purportedly comes from his office, that was drafted by Brigadier Noob and signed on his behalf.
Yeah.
Because at the bottom it's got he's the head of counter and security intelligence. In the inquiries, it's always put in the inquiries the head of that section, right? And at the bottom of it, it's actually supposed to have his details on it, and Ngube is supposed to sign on behalf of him. But that's immaterial. The fact of the matter is...
No, it is material. It is material because what you say at the bottom of the letter reflects is not what is on the letter. I mean, the letter clearly says section head, unless you say this is a description of General Khan. The letter says section head, personnel security, brigadier section head, personnel security, counter and security intelligence, crime intelligence head office, PC Ngube. What in this is about General Khan? A reader of this letter knows and understands that it was written and signed by Ngube.
Yes, if I can explain it, Commissioner.
Yes,
I mean, I worked with these letters, yeah.